So, how does isolation change you? Let's talk about it. So today we're going to talk about isolation and what that does to your brain and sometimes even your body. Hi, I'm Will Thunderhawk coaching here. Thunderhawk coach Will. I'm going to talk about isolation. So isolation is a bit of a double-edged blade, I feel, especially in terms of well-being, in terms of developing yourself. So I something I really think about when I think about isolation is that really a lot of people who like isolation have often learned that they can't feel safe with other people, right? Something unfortunate has happened physically or emotionally to do the smallest transgression. The third parties may think it's small, but I think the individual it feels large. But to the most extreme things you can think of, right? I'm better off by myself because if I'm with other people, I don't trust them because bad things are going to happen, right? Some people are just unfortunately profoundly rejected or just don't have the opportunity to connect with people. And that's really painful because we're social creatures. As humans, we want to connect with people, we want to be close to people, we want to feel loved and cared for and validated, right? That's why a lot of technology is built the way it is. It hooks in our attention, YouTube especially, or TikTok maybe. I don't know. But isolation, I guess, I would almost frame it as an ability to develop a degree of pain tolerance because it's kind of a natural, right? Initially off the bat, because we're built to be social creatures, so it's unnatural to isolate people. We literally punish people in the most extreme ways we can think of via isolation, right? If you break the law and go to jail, you're being isolated from everyone you care about. If you do bad stuff in jail, they will further isolate you from any other human because we know that has profound impacts negatively on people, right? We go, what's the worst thing we could do to somebody? Isolate them. So psychologically, it's a big amount of damage, man. It hurts, right? We only can really figure out who we are, what we're about, relationally, and by externalizing a lot of our kind of thoughts and feelings. Because I don't know about you guys, but when you try and process and figure something out internally, just internally without saying anything out loud, it's kind of like grab and smoke, right? You can figure some stuff out, but especially emotions don't really process internally. They process externally. Logically, we can process ideas and think about ideas internally and logical information. But emotions, they have to come out. They have to be emotionally engaged with. They have to be validated by another, right? This is why coaching exists. This is why therapy exists. This is why helping relationships in general exist. It kind of acknowledges that fundamental human need to be connected to the other. So when you're not connected to the other, it creates this really challenging cascade. So I'm going to frame this that, when you don't hang out with people, you get worse at hanging out with people. And when you get worse hanging out with people, you less likely are going to hang out with people, which is then going to reduce your ability to meet this need more and more and more and more. And then that's going to have a significant emotional consequence because then you're going to be sitting with more negative emotions that you can't process. It's going to build up. You're going to have more stress, less trust in the other, potentially more anxious in how you navigate the world. And this can lead to a really bad downward spiral very quickly. Something I've heard in people who unfortunately unalive themselves, and I've certainly felt this myself, is no one would care anyway if I went. I'm a burden on others, right? This isolation is too much, right? This pain is too much. It's painful to not be with people. So ask yourselves this, The idea of being in a forest by yourself, maybe for some, is a very relaxing idea, sitting in a cabin and reading a book. And I think when you're comfortable with yourself in the short term, it's great. And I think if you do like meditative practices, or you have had a lot of time to yourself, there's going to be a lot of comfort in that, right? I like being by myself for most of the day. Today, on the day I'm recording this, I've been by myself most of the day. But that's mostly because I have a lot of history of being by myself, and I'm comfortable in that. But also, some stuff stews and festers when we're alone. Lots of studies point to this. It's so fundamental, I almost feel, to the human experience, and I'm kind of being a dead horse here. But when you go through prolonged isolation, it can be traumatic, really traumatic. It can do some really intense harm to you. And some people, I think something about a third of people develop additional resilience from going through those really challenging experiences. A lot of other people are kind of neutral, and another third are significantly harmed. So this is why there's a wide range of experiences from how isolation affects you, which is why the video is called How Isolation Changes You, not hurts you. So some people in more meditative traditions believe that isolation is a really core component of attaining a degree of enlightenment or internal clarity, or improving your relationship with yourself through deep reflection and introspection, which can feel incredibly grounding. But I also, in that, I guess, also feel like there's a degree of connection in it. It's not connecting with another person. It's kind of connecting with a higher concept. So it could be metaphysical, it could be with nature, it could be with the universe. A lot of people connect with a lot of different things on a big scale. So I guess, how has isolation affected me? It's certainly made it harder for me to be more open with people to begin with. I'll own that. I feel that. Which is why it takes me some time to open up to other people. But it's something that I think is important to do, because when we recognize that, then we can do something about it. And it's a lot harder to create action in isolation. Some people can do it, but often the other external forces have to come in, my guy. You either have to really reinforce the idea in your head over and over again to create kind of motivation in the direction of it. And that's something I do sometimes, like the song I talked about recently on the other video I put out on Wednesday, the Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. Thinking about that song a lot made me want to learn that song, and I'd learned a little bit of it. That's cool, but it's kind of, I guess it depends on what life you want to live. There's a road you can go down where you can kind of be isolated, and you can kind of do this more introspective path, and there could be a lot of deep nourishment in that, but there can also be a lot of disconnect from the physical world, and that can help in some ways and also hinder in others. So isolation can literally cause brain damage, but will our brains heal and grow stronger in other ways? I think of weightlifting. I lift a really heavy weight. Can I bear the load and gain the progressive overload gains, or will the muscle tear? It's a hard one to say, but we're all built differently. I'm going to leave it there. I want to hear your thoughts in the chat. How has isolation changed you? I've been Will, Thunderhawk Coaching forever. Good luck, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.